What's up, guys? Jeff Cavaliere, AthleteX.com. What you're about to watch is the most effective back workout you've ever done. Because it's part of my 100 series where I'm getting you to increase the efficacy of your workouts by increasing the efficiency of the reps you perform. Here I'm getting you to focus on trading in junk volume for something we know that is much more effective reps. You see, when you perform a set of 12 reps to failure, traditionally, you're actually not putting in all that much effort on the first, let's say, 6, 7, or 8 reps. They're just being done to fatigue you to get to the ones that are more difficult and ultimately results producing. But when you perform effective rep training, you're essentially cutting the line. Right, you're jumping to the more difficult reps that allows for you to get more of the results producing reps in less time and getting more from your workout. Now this isn't new, it's actually been used by some of the greatest of all time. It's just one of those underutilized, often overlooked techniques that can really produce gains, especially if you haven't done it in a while. But as with all AthleteX workouts, it's not enough to know just what the technique is, it's the exercise selection and how you apply it that makes all the difference. And when it comes to the effective workouts here, picking the right exercises is key, but more than that, knowing what areas to train is also important. You see, for complete back development, you're going to want to train not only your lats, but also, of course, your upper back, your traps, your mid-scap muscles, your rear delts, and of course, your lats and low back. You see, when your workout is fully developed, that's when you get full development, and that's where you start the workout off with the first exercise. And it's the barbell row. It's one of the best horizontal pulling exercises that you can do. And when you're ready to roll, what I want you to do is to load up a weight that will cause you to fail on the exercise in the 12 rep range. Now this first set is something that we call the ignition set. It's just priming you for the effective rep total that we're going to accrue in the sets that follow it. Again, you're likely not going to feel too much in the first 6, 7, or 8 reps. That's part of that volume that isn't necessarily producing the gains you're after. But when you reach those more difficult 9th, 10th, 11th, and finally 12th reps, well, that's actually where you want to make sure and dig down. And again, when we're talking about failure here, we're talking about form failure. When the exercise is no longer recognizable as the barbell row we know and love, well, that's when you need to stop. But don't go too far away, because what I want you to do here is just take a quick 15-second rest pause. And see, by limiting the amount of rest in between sets here, we're more effectively getting back into the more fatigued state of that muscle more quickly. But the next time around, you're not going to perform a straight barbell row. This time we're going to allow you to use just a little bit of momentum. We're going to perform something we call the barbell dead row. So you start with a little bit of leg action off the ground as if you're performing a deadlift, and then you row it the rest of the way. And all I want you to do is perform these sets to failure and get as many reps as you possibly can each time. The goal for the effective reps on this exercise is 20 total. However many rest pause intervals that might take you. You might knock off 5 or 6 after that first set of 12. Those are the first 5 or 6 that count towards your total. And from there you continue to chip away until you've reached those 20 effective reps. At that point, move on to the next exercise, which is the lat pull down. And after a 3 to 4 minute rest, you should be ready to roll here and start up once again on another ignition set, this time on this traditional vertical pulling exercise. And what we're looking for here again is a well-performed set, choosing a weight that will cause you to fail in that 12 rep range. Again, no shortcuts here, because once again, we know that this is priming us for what's to come. And when we reach failure here, again, you don't go too far away, because your rest is just the 15-second rest pause that you're going to take. And once this 15 seconds is up, I get right back into the exercise again. But as we saw in the first exercise, we start to hit those more difficult but results-producing reps more quickly. And what I'm targeting here is about 4 or 5 or again 6 repetitions, and that's okay. Because as I chip away, set after set or after each rest pause interval, I'm going to get myself eventually to my 20 effective reps. When I jump back in again after my rest pause, I start cranking away again at those good, solid, but highly difficult repetitions. And that's where we go for the seated cable row. Another horizontal pulling exercise, but one that's going to be a little bit easier on the low back, because we don't have to be bending over when we perform it like the barbell row. But this is a great exercise to actually allow us to start shifting that focus a little bit higher, more to the upper back and rear delts. I said before, there's actually one of the better rear delt exercises that you can do, especially when we perform it with a straight bar like this. Because as I do this, my elbows start to go wider and higher. And as I do that, I get more extension and start to activate more of that upper back, as we know. And as always here, we're still doing that ignition set to that 12 rep failure. As I'm done, as you can see here, I take that brief 15-second rest and I get right back into it again. The thing about pulling workouts is that on the second half of the exercise in these effective rep workouts, you can utilize a little bit of momentum here to your favor. As you start to get a little bit more fatigued, leaning a little bit forward and coming back with a little bit of a rock, it's gonna let you get that bar moving and you moving closer to your effective rep total without sacrificing the safety of the exercise by letting our form break down past form failure. As always here, guys, it doesn't matter how many repetitions you get after each subsequent rest pause period. All you have to do is take what your body's willing to give you. However many effective reps you can get, take your rest pause and keep chipping away, as I said, until you've reached that total of 20 effective reps, which if you're counting at home, at this point in the workout, puts you at a total of 60. But we're not done quite yet, because now we go back to our vertical pulling exercises. This one's one of my favorite, and it starts from the ground up. We're talking about the high pull. And what this does is, once again, works that upper back, the traps, right, the mid-scap muscles that are all important and oftentimes overlooked. And all you gotta do here is pull the dumbbells up to your shoulders, but be careful. This is not an upright row. As a matter of fact, it's very opposite of an upright row. The elbows stay low and the hands stay high, rather than the elbows traveling higher than the wrist and hands. And once again, the weight that you choose here is one that will cause that form failure in the 12 rep range. And just like you have with all the other exercises in this workout, the ignition set is done just to sort of kick everything off, because you once again have 20 more effective reps waiting for you after that first set. The difficulty level rises, but so will the effectiveness of what you're doing as well. Not to mention the efficiency too, because it's not going to take as many reps to get out of your workout what you're trying to do right now with a much higher volume. Finish up the last of those 20 effective reps, and then meet me at the lat pull down bar one more time for the last exercise in the workout, unless you decide to take the option.
Or like a tease.
Let's see where this one takes me. Experience.
And this time we're actually going to flip the script a little bit, or at least the hand placement, to the underhand grip lat pull down. We call these the ROM pull downs. In other words, range of motion, full range of motion. Because I want you to get that elongated, almost exaggerated stretch on the lats at the top of every single one of these repetitions. We know that applying stretch tension to the lats is a good way to stimulate additional growth. Well, at this point in the workout, we're not going to have to use as much weight, realizing that we have that slight pause at the top of every rep with a little bit more of that applied tension. And as always, I work my way through that first initial ignition set, realizing that, again, even at this level of fatigue, these first few repetitions probably won't be that challenging. But if I've chosen the weight correctly, well, things start to get serious as I get to the end of the set. I take my 15-second rest and I jump back in once again, now starting to work my way towards that 20 effective rep total. And as I said before, the nice thing about the pulling exercises is that you get a little bit of that built-in momentum. If I need it, I can take it here. A little bit of a lean back of the torso is not going to hurt. As a matter of fact, it might be what's needed to get you to that final 20th rep. And so now with 100 reps in our 100 back workout, I mentioned that option. If you're so crazy as to want to actually attempt this, then what you're going to want to do is take one of these bars and set it up as an inverted row. You see, the inverted row is not only one of my favorite back exercises, body weight or not, but what it does is it once again kind of finishes off those mid-scap muscles that oftentimes gets overlooked. But we're not going to do it as just an inverted row. You see, we do something called a static hold ladder, where all you're going to do is get yourself up to the top of the repetition with your feet either flat on the floor or with your legs extended out in front of you if you're looking for something even more difficult. The idea is to pull your chest up as close as you can get it to the bar and then hold that for 5 seconds. You see, these muscles tend to get very weak over time because of poor posture. We want to train them for a little bit more muscle endurance. So we're going to hold them up there in this position. Your job here is to just simply accumulate 20 effective reps. However, if you add up the time that you're holding this, it's going to be 100 seconds of hold. With every single repetition completed, there's associated with it 5 seconds of the static hold at the top. Again, consider this one an option, but realize I'll be proud of you whether you do it or you don't, but I'll like you more if you do. And so if you had done this workout in a traditional way with barbell rows for 4 sets of 12, lat pull downs 3 sets of 12, seated rows 3 sets of 12, dumbbell high pulls, and the underhand round pull downs, all for 3 sets of 12, and you did them the way you usually do them, remember the effective reps are relegated to last 3 or generously 4 reps of the workout. So you're going to wind up with, if you do 4, 16 for this exercise, 12, 12, 12, and 12, which is 64 of those harder effective reps. If you went and you only got sort of the last 3 that were beneficial for you, then that number comes all the way down to 48. When you do the workout I just showed you, you get into those effective reps more quickly, like I said, and you're also performing more of them. So you get more work done in a shorter period of time, and ultimately, you trade in some of that workout length for intensity for better results. And so as I like to do here for you guys on the channel, I'm going to give you the chance to just screenshot this so you know exactly what you have to do the next time you take this to the gym and try it out. And speaking of trying it out, when are you going to try the chest workout or the shoulder workout? You can find both of those over here. You're going to want to make sure you do those too, guys. If you're looking for a complete step-by-step program where we utilize the intensity techniques like these to get more from everything you do, you can find them at AthleanX.com. Don't forget to click subscribe and turn notifications so you never miss a video when we put one out. All right, guys, check these out. I'll see you soon.